Hello, everybody, and welcome here to the Sports Talk Network channel, and welcome here specifically to This Is Us review for this episode, Season 3, episode number 14. Let's just get right into it, as I have a myriad of other videos to be doing here today, but I do and have enjoyed this show and series so far, and shall here continuously. But like anything, change is always scary, especially if you've been through what This Is Us has been through. Indeed, this week's kind of a mixed outing, which came down rather unfortunately to a rehashing of several old conflicts, is all about how trauma and grief has and continues to prevent our heroes from moving on. Most successfully, the graduates offer. Hold on, sorry. Never many more biggest showcase of the season, and she completely runs away with the episode. I have said in the past about how Rebecca-centric episodes tend to do well because she's perhaps the show's most complex character, and at least for her portion of the episode, that remains true indeed. The Graduates opens with home movie-like footage and footage of Jack filming Rebecca in a Radio Shack as they mull over buying a new camera to capture Pearson memories. The big three at this moment in time are about babies. Jack is in his element, Radio Shack Jack. He calls himself, helping Rebecca choose the right new camera for the family. Elegantly and heralding the episode then cuts to the period following Jack's death, with Rebecca back in the store alone. It's high school graduation time, and she's dead at a loss. A man approaches her, offering help. She knew him back when the kids were in middle school, and he provides just that. But then, as she leaves, he asks her out on a casual date. The suggestion is so jarring, it leaves Rebecca frozen. Yeah, sorry about that. Anyways, leaves Rebecca frozen where she stands. The very notion of moving on in that way is heartbreaking and scary to her at that moment. In this past timeline, the Pearsons remain stuck in uncertainty and grief. Kate doesn't want to go to her graduation plan to follow Sophie to become an actor. Rebecca is trying to make the best of the milestone, suppressing her sheer anguish over the fact that Jack isn't there to share it. She also has 2 graduations to go to, with Randall finishing up, as valedictorian nonetheless, at a separate school. This fact also highlights the unique bond Kate and Kevin share, which takes center stage in the present day. The main event of The Graduates of this episode, that is entitled The Graduates, is actually about Kate's graduation from college. I did find this development a little frustrating several episodes ago. The show made a big episode capping point of Kate completing her degree, but completely glossed over the fact of her process of actually doing so. To the point where I was reading her graduation here feels too abrupt, but still I did enjoy the moment. I mean, Toby decided to go all out for the occasion, throwing a sort of ceremony for Kate and the few others that to graduate from community college. Kate is initially reluctant about this gesture, but when she sees that her mother has flown across the country for it and sees her genuine pride in her, enthusiasm evolves into joy. Wait, you're trying to tell me that any more character is the mother of the babies? Woman character? I'm trying to remember that. Anyway, maybe it's a different one. I think it was. I'm trying to remember. It's moving right along, but that can only last for so long. The second Kevin shows up very late to the ceremony, Kate senses something is off. And correctly, I might add. Last we did see him, though, there was the devastating reveal that he'd started drinking again, just before making peace with Nikki. And As we check in on him here, his hotel room littered with vodka and whiskey bottles, it's clear things have only gotten worse and not better. He's lying about taking he's lying about taking meetings with Stephen Sonnenberg. He's also lying about going to the spa with Kate. And as much as he tries to play up the normal act, Kate recognizes he's trying too hard, and that he's lying when he leaves the ceremony. Randomly, to another big Hollywood meeting. Still also in town appears finally happy for him, and it's hard to believe she herself wasn't suspicious of Kevin's behavior this week, too. Hotel room pounding on his door until he pretend like everything's fine, and she pushes past. Dang it. Pushes past him to enter and sees the evidence all around. Kate says she has to tell Zoe. Kevin begs her not to do so. If she finds out I was lying to her, she's going to leave me, he says, before promising to get a sponsor and do the whole thing right. She finds an appointment for a meeting in Hollywood and agrees to drive him. She'll explain to Toby later. What emerges here is a need for support. The realization that Kevin cannot do this alone, that he needs the sister that always has been there for him to push him through any dark period he now needs in his darkest moments. This seems like, at least to me, mirrors Rebecca's journey in The Graduates as well. And the flashback takes her to Randall's graduation, where she runs out as it's getting started, too spooked and raw to sit through it all. Miguel races after her, and as she loses control more than perhaps we've ever seen her do, tells her it may be worth going to a meeting herself. I don't want group counseling, Miguel. She says, I want to rewind the clock. I just want to rewind the clock. She lets it all out and walks with him back inside. But all in all, a good episode. Sorry, I'm just trying to there's some more reviewing to do. I know it's in a PDF, trying to load them up now a little bit. All right. Yeah, well, there was your little intermission music being played there, but back here to a review. Notes. Sorry. Come on now. Dang it, this thing is not loading. Alright, let's just keep going then. Rebecca then drops Kate off on the way to the second graduation. She's so upset she refuses to go and heads out. We stay with Kate as she finds some old home movies, sliding one into the VCR and smiling tearfully at footage of her and Kevin and his babies, together from the start. Later, Katie joins the siblings at the graduation party while Rebecca returns to the apartment alone. We feel the snuffiness, the isolation. She watches a video too, and it brings her some happiness. But the moment it ends, she's back at her lowest. She calls Miguel. I really can't be here right now. I can't be anywhere right now. She says she asked him to take to a group to take her to a group support meeting. Mandy Moore plays it absolutely perfectly. You sense how difficult and emotional it is for her to get out the words and to ask for help and acknowledge that she needs it. Great job by Mandy Moore portraying that moment, the art of acting. Moving right along, in the present, when Rebecca is at Kate's college graduation, she tells her daughter of the period following Jack's death. We really didn't want the next big moments of our life to come. And they find common ground. It's which Kate recognizes. Not just the fear of change, but the pain of it. This has also categorized the episode's last big storyline involving Deja. Finally getting a spotlight after spending much of the season in the background. While Beth is off teaching her first dance class, more than a minute, Randall is called to address an urgent matter for Deja. She calls him in a fret and finds him on his way to school, already heading home. She explains what happened. She submitted a personal essay. Her teacher put it online for all to see, leading students to mock Deja and calling her Pontiac. The essay was about the time she and her mom lived in the car. Randall, furious, heads right to the school. He confronts and sufficiently schools Miss Cunningham right away, telling her how Deja is mortified that she violated her trust. The teacher immediately recognizes her mistake. I am so sorry, I wasn't thinking, she says through tears. I will take the post down right now. She then reveals why she did it. I was just really proud of her, of how far she's come, but I never should have published it. She then tells Randall that all of Deja's teachers agree that after being held back, Deja's intelligence and ability to catch up means she could skip right to the 9th grade. Randall brings the news to Deja. She's stunned and pushes back. She tells him she doesn't want to get ahead like he did. Sending a remark which leads to a conversation about their backgrounds and how they can be analyzed. But later, Deja confesses the deeper reason why she wants to stay where she is. I'm finally getting used to things the way they are. It's the ride to school, all of us going at the same time. You or Beth waiting out front at the end of the day to pick us up. She says, for the first time in my life, I don't want things to change. There's that theme again. Manifesting from a very different set of circumstances, and Randall understands completely. As to what the episode does with all of these developments, it seems like This Is Us has started spinning its wheels. On the way to the meeting, Kate's water breaks, less than 30 weeks in, far too early, and she's rushed to the hospital, another pregnancy scare. The show, of course, has already planned one of these for the last intense drama, but to do it again and end the episode on a cliffhanger of all things, the final shot nicely brings the siblings together in a scene of embrace, but the mechanics of it remain repetitive, and ending on a cliffhanger, given that we've already been here before, felt cheap and easy, but still doesn't mean it wasn't heartfelt. It wasn't doing its job of being entertaining for us, the audience. The same goes for where we ended up with Randall. Beth comes home, greeted by her first teaching day. Randall tells her about what happened with Deja, breaking down every bit of the day. He talks about how he looked into getting a babysitter qualified to look after Deja and Tess and Annie, given their demanding schedules. Randall, about to go to work as a councilman, Beth now working nights. Money aside, do we really want some stranger picking up the slack? Is that really what's best for our girls? He asks. He acknowledges that Beth has sacrificed a lot while he was campaigning, and then asks her to do it again, to put a pin in teaching. So you either have a dream and I'm just supposed to quit mine, she asks. Again, this is the old hand, a conflict which the show already played out a few weeks ago. If the point is that Randall still hasn't learned or grown from the first experience, perhaps the relationship will be more fatal this time. Beth and Randall's loving, playful dynamic has always been one of the show's highlights. Now, This Is Us clearly trying to test them, but is the show like we're not easier too afraid of real change and growth? The Graduate indicates that may be the case, but overall, All in all, a very good episode that I certainly and thoroughly did enjoy. And I hope you guys did enjoy this review. Welcome to let me know what you think. Leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the weather in your area. And above all else, as always, take care.